Warning: the following contains content intended for older audiences and may contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back again to Taboo Talks. In the last few episodes, we kind of scratched the surface on Taboo Talks, but tonight we're gonna get really deep into the closet. I'm Drea, and I'm your host, and today's topic is being gay in Belize, from inside the closet to national TV status. Joining me are four guests who have a lot to say on the topic from personal experiences. Please introduce yourselves, guys. I'm going to start off with my good friend here, Paul.
Hi, guys. I'm Paul here. Paul Schmidt. You want the whole name?
Government name?
Whole government name.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adija Pollard.
I'm Zach.
I'm Rowan Mejia.
Okay, guys. So it's safe to assume that everyone here, excluding myself, is of the LGBTQ community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus community. Thank you for adding that for me. I hope you guys keep me PC. So the first question really, I have a lot of, gay and lesbian friends, but I will never really understand what it really is like to be gay in Belize or queer in Belize. Can you guys enlighten me a little bit? What is that really like?
Well, I can speak for my experience, but it isn't for me. I am a bisexual woman, so my experience, I cannot speak for everyone, and my experience is probably it's not as much as hard as everyone else because women. Women are not like discriminated for being gay. It's more fetishized, if anything, by men, and I am bisexual, so.
You're like a man's dream.
Exactly, and that I'll get into that later, but it has its difficulties with, family, I think that Belize is still like way behind times when it comes to education on the entire scope of the LGBTQIA plus community. So it is very difficult. For me, my experience is just, with family and things like that because I'm not looking for acceptance, so I don't experience the hardships that maybe Paul would experience.
Yeah, I think I can see that being completely different for, especially an attractive, what you call, do you still call it lipstick lesbian or lipstick, bi woman? Like I can see how easy it could be as compared to a gay man.
I think it varies. And it depends where you are in your life, So if school was very different for me, I grew up. I always tell people, I think gay is written on my face. I could be standing in a room and not say anything. It's not until I open my mouth that people realize that, oh, he gay, And they're like, but I do think it depends where you are. So in school, it's definitely different because there's less education there. Kids are growing up. Kids can be really mean.
Right.
And after a while, I think once you start to accept yourself and then you have that, it really depends where you are. If you have some level of support. Thankfully, I have a strong mind. So when I came out, I told my mom, I said, girl, if they're not me, you want with my partner, they have me none at all. Thank goodness she came around. She accepts me for who I am. She accepts my partner.
How old were you when you came out?
I think I was 17.
Okay.
I'm 34 now, so that's some years. But then and now it's completely different, and my mom came a long way, But I wasn't looking for, like you said, I wasn't looking for the acceptance, I wanted to accept myself, and I did, But when you do have it, man, you feel like you have like all the support in the world, and you feel like you accomplish anything. So anybody tell you anything from the street, F you, okay.
Right.
Just carry on and you live your life. And I think that's what it is. It really depends where you are too.
But I think, like you said, it depends on your circumstance
definitely.
and your attitude towards it. And then that's gay man. Like how about, like, for example, you, where you identify as a different gender, like how is it for you?
Well, with me, it's all about self-love for me. Like, as long as you love yourself enough, for not this is what you want and you want to be happy enough in your own skin and just be you. That me just my take on it. Like, I'm me, this is what you get. You see me? So, with my mom, the way how my mom find out, I'm from school. So, I never just come out to she. She used to dress me up to, when I'm at high school at Palote, I spent my first year at Palote. She used to dress me, still as like female. And the way how she caught me was the principal not telling her, you know, because I may have to find some notes on what's not.
But so she caught on that to you liking women or being attracted to women.
Well, I didn't come out to her personally.
Okay.
She found out from through school.
Okay.
And then I had to, you know, well, Mom, this is me. This is what I like. And at first she gave me a tough time, but she ended up come around, you know, and I'm thankful for that. So yeah.
And what about you identifying as male?
Well, that part is very hard in Belize. Oh, you think you're a man. You're a man, you got breasts, or yeah. So it's very hard being a openly transgender male in Belize, because I guess it's still taboo.
Right.
But I think with years to come, we'll come around.
Yeah,
we'll definitely
for sure.
come around. Yeah.
What about you? What was it like for you? Because you didn't grow up in Belize, right?
No.
So
I
how
grew
was
up
it
in Salvador.
in Salvador?
Pero yo comparto la misma visión de Paul. Depende de dónde vienes, dónde vas, dónde estás. A veces no es lo mismo que un gay man salga del closet de una familia pobre que de una familia rica. Hay más aceptación, como más abierto a todo. En cambio, en la pobreza tú tienes que lidiar con todo, más que todo con la discriminación, y en parte cuando somos hombres gays es más discriminación aún porque también está el machismo de por medio.
Right. So I hear you mentioned, so it's for you, you think it's harder to come out when you're in a poor environment than when you're richer. But for me, it's like, what about the status in society that a lot of closeted gay men find themselves having to hide from or having to like deal with? Because I feel like it is very challenging for men of
A certain
Straight.
a
status.
certain status to identify or be openly gay for fear of what their counterparts might say of them. You know what I mean?
I think to add to what Ruben is saying, and I hear you too, is that there is a socio-economic place that may be more different or difficult, because I know that certain things, like where I live, thank heavens that I might not have anybody that may be taunting me, telling me bullshit on the street or anything like that, as opposed to somebody maybe coming from a different background. And I'm not trying to paint any neighborhood differently, but we all know, but there are some neighborhoods that may be difficult for some people, and we've seen it. I mean, we've had recorded history where we have trans women who have walked in the night in certain places in this city, not in the safest space, and they have been killed. For whatever reason you want to call it, whether you want to say, oh, then they trick you, or whatever, you may feel tricked because you may think that may a lady. The thing is, you went after that person because you had hate, and which is homophobia or transphobia. And so it does happen, you know, that people will attack you or tell you things, you know, and it's plain because in school you have a mix of everybody. So whether you come from the rich or the poor, you know, you find that certain people in that same setting in school, you see that they will be mean and there's so misinformation there. So when you grow up and you get older and you see that people are placed in different parts of society, maybe where I live I might not face that discrimination, but I'm pretty sure if I grew up or was in a different setting, I would have probably have it harder.
Ruben, when you came out in El Salvador, did you, or did you just kind of like
I
let them
just
think what they
was
wanna
down
think?
low, but I came out in Belize
You
with
came
my
out.
partner.
Okay.
I just remember when I just fell in love with him. And
They have been like sickening,
Just
like
had,
since they
like-
walk through this door,
Like
like
our relationship.
I just want to be gay now. Like, You guys are making me feel like I'm missing out on
That's
something.
all butterflies.
It's not all, but you know, there is love, obviously.
Fue un hard time para mí porque pues yo me negaba a aceptar lo que yo era. Y él estaba siempre apoyándome, quería que yo saliera, pero quería que yo tomara mi tiempo a salir. Y yo pues estaba pensando en qué es lo que todos dirían antes de qué es lo que yo sentía.
Right.
Y pues me costó mucho aceptar. Con el tiempo yo pude salir gracias al apoyo de mi pareja. Y pues no me arrepiento, la verdad. Soy feliz. Es lo más importante que puede haber en cada uno de nosotros. Ser feliz en la vida. No importa el qué dirá la gente, porque uno hace cosas buenas, la gente siempre va a hablar. Cosas malas, la gente siempre va a hablar. Solo tómate tu tiempo para ser feliz tú mismo.
Tómate tu tiempo para ser feliz. I love it. But okay, another question, because I'm interested just because he's not from here. ¿Tuviste novias or no?
Sí. Antes de él tuve la última.
La
Uy,
última
eso
novia.
Sí, la última.
Okay, and I have a question. How do you compare, and I'm asking you about, how do you compare sex with a man versus with a woman, since you've been with both?
I love sex with man. I can't regret it. Just that I love it. That is me, I'm gay.
Me too. I understand. I'm sorry, I had to ask that question.
No, a good question.
That's a good one.
No, and I feel like you too, like you're also bisexual.
Hold up. My husband gay.
I know he's. I know he's gay, but I'm saying like you've also experienced both situations. He basically just said, "Listen, I know I'm gay because I love sex with man." Like,
Yeah, well, but for me, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with like, sex. It's to do with the person that I'm with. So, sex is like it's not a factor for me in deciding which partner I want to be. Because I'm bisexual, like. A lot of people, and there's stigma against women being bisexual in Belize. Well, I think around the world, people will say you don't know what you want, you're so confused.
Like you're confused, yeah.
Yeah. So I would be with a man, it doesn't work out. Maybe I'll get with another man, or maybe I'd get with a woman. But it has nothing to do with, with sex. It has to do with the person and how he or she makes me feel.
I see. So you don't have any physical attributes that you find alluring? Because I know when I like somebody, it's because I physically like. You're checking tall. I dated all kind of short men. Oh my God. I'm not gonna list out the one.
Y'all are important.
I've actually never gotten into a relationship with someone that I was like insanely physically attracted to in the beginning. Like I would see someone like, okay, it's a guy or it's a woman, and then I would talk to them, and then I would develop a physical attraction to them, like through that connection.
Through
like,
that initial, like you have to have a back and forth.
It's not. It's not love at first sight for me, or like deeply falling in love with someone's physical appearance.
I'm falling in love right now. I'm questioning now because she walked in. I'm like, she's so pretty.
Well,
Watch out, babe.
well, he can give you pointers.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, so we've explored coming out of the closet, right? You say you said I.
Well,
I
didn't have a coming out. For some people, I understand that is something important for you to do, but. As I said, I'm not looking for any kind of acceptance from society. So this will be my coming out, because a lot of people, if you're not my close friend or if you don't have me on social media, it's not something that I walk around saying. Like, I would post it on social media. I'm not hiding it, but at the same time, I'm not going around telling people so that they can accept me. If you see, you see. If you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. I didn't have like a coming out anything. Maybe this is my coming out party right here. I didn't have.
Congratulations!
I didn't have a coming out where I sat down with anyone and tell them like, oh, I'm bisexual or something like that.
But it shouldn't have to be.
I don't think, because people don't come out and be like, hey guys, I'm straight.
Yeah,
I don't think it's necessary, and people make it a big deal. Yeah, I just do what I do, and if you know, you know. If you accept it, you accept it. I'm just looking for.
Society makes it a big deal.
I'm looking for respect. Just respect me. I don't. If my mom accept me, I don't need anyone else.
I like that. No, okay. So now, backing up away, Dizzle, I think it was a little bit more, I would say, difficult to date, you know, like especially if you are gay or lesbian, if you didn't do it at school. How about now with technology and Grindr and Tinder and all of those? What's the new one?
I don't know.
That's a question. I like that you answered that.
I don't even know about these apps. Well, I feel like, well, for me, I feel like I don't do dating apps, but I feel like if you're like lesbian, if you're just a part of the community, Twitter is a great place to find someone to date. If you're not on that, you should get on that.
You know what?
Yes.
One of my gay friends basically showed me that Tinder was just a free porn site.
Yeah.
Not Tinder, Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter, free porn.
Yeah.
Twitter. Is
Twitter.
the Tumblr
I love
of today.
Twitter though. I love Twitter.
today.
Like I've never had like on Instagram, like if you're gay or whatever and I am friendly to you, I will have you up there, but it's not like I'm seeking out any queer friends on Instagram or on Facebook, but on Twitter, like it's just a whole community that you just find them and it's just beautiful. And then to be scrolling down your timeline and seeing relatable tweets, relatable content, because you don't see that on like Facebook. Well, for me, it's mostly like, hate towards that. So it's good to see that, find that on Twitter, so that might be my dating app, but I'm not looking for a partner. But maybe if Zach is looking for a partner, you can try Twitter.
No?
No, Zach.
I'm tired.
You're tired.
He said, I'm tired.
I'm gonna stress you out, your boy.
I'm tired.
Lady, that's stress?
But
So I hear.
They are.
So you don't date at all, and you don't have a significant other.
He dates a lot.
she says a lot.
You know each other?
No, I have him on Facebook.
Oh, so you're a player.
No, I'm not a player, man.
Well, I won't expose you.
I'm just exploring my options and having fun.
Explore away. You're a young
Yeah.
man.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, as long as everybody knows that it's about having fun, I think we're good.
But back in the day was different for us because we had a thing in Belize called Belize Central. I always mention it to Ruben.
I only remember Concas. I remember Concas.
Me don't know what the heck is that.
They're
my
far
gosh.
ahead of me. How old?
give
No.
me age.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I
Just
don't
hold on.
We had a thing called BelizeCentral.com. You went on that thing, you had 2 chat rooms. So this was around the time of High Five and High Five and MSN. Facebook did not exist.
Right.
So you jumped in these rooms, which was either beige or blue. And they used to say, oh, the blue room, that's for all. I don't want to say the word up here, but they say, that's for all of them people.
The one that starts with F?
Yeah, that one there. They said the blue room that's for there, and the beige room that's for the regular people. Anyways, you're jumping at the beige room now, and again, the popular room, everybody want to in the sauce, so people, they change up the name, get little hints here and there. They try to use, like, maybe, Batman and Robin, so like that way you kind of know what they're trying to say. But it was a lot of
Who's
that.
Batman and who's
You know, so it was a lot of that, and you just jumped in these places, and as long as you could get that one email to MSN, because no Facebook, you link on MSN, and then your link number, no WhatsApp, never there. But we had to meet people like. This is literally.
coffee shop? That
This is literally cruising. What cruising was for like the 80s and 70s, like New Yorker, gay New Yorker. That is what it was for us, at least in my generation. That's what it was. And I could imagine there are older gay men in my time. They must have probably cruise, like literally cruise, and cruising exactly what it sounds like.
Like
Where
you literally like.
literally does a drive boat and a cruise and try to say where you could pick up.
Oh,
They
really?
try to pick up, yes.
It still happens.
Yeah, it still
That
happen.
still happens.
It still
feel
does
like
happen.
Enough government, man. Like,
Yes.
Enough minister.
Enough at the end of the boat.
Enough minister.
Okay. Oh, you sound
We
like
know
you want
who
to
you
be-
guys are.
You sound like you be specific.
Like we know you guys. Like you feel like we're not like we know. Anyway.
Belize smile, we know.
Exactly. We know. Like all of us know. Anyway.
So, but it's different. So now you have these apps that, but I think that these apps are kind of just so fast, you know. And I think
As an app user,
when we met in person.
Yes.
We met by a gacha
Like the
shop.
whole.
it was organic. Okay,
It was
whatever.
organic.
Yeah. You guys are
Okay, we're
like
done.
a
We're
successful
finished.
love
We're
story.
finished.
Different people are looking for different things. So maybe you are looking for like a long-term partner. Some people are just looking for a hookup.
hookup.
So I feel like Tinder is a hookup app.
Zach says she will hook up.
I've seen Tinder.
Just delete
It looks
Tinder.
boring.
Should you just delete Tinder? So
didn't
Tinder
use
works for
I
you?
don't really go there looking.
Okay. All right. Well, with the confusion and fear, some gay people live double lives. We know that for sure. Yes. Some claim to be bisexual, though. What's your take on that? And I'm talking about the same minister we got wife, sweetheart, one ex-sweetheart, 3, 4, 5 picnic, and then one ex-sweetheart, and then also a man, sweetheart.
Oh, I know.
So are they gay, like, or are they just wielding their power? You know what I mean? I don't think
I can't even speak. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
I think it depends what they truly feel. I don't know. And I think, you know, my mom always say, you know, you can't get between when two head knock on a pillow. So whatever they do, that them two guys, only they know what they feel. You know, so maybe there is true and authentic attraction there. You know, and maybe that's only intimate for that moment in time at that time. But he probably has to live his life or a public life, you know, and so he maintain his wife, his children, and he may maintain his ego by having other women and other kids, I don't know.
Sometimes for them, that situation that you're explaining, it sounds like, because as I said, it's different situation for different people. Like maybe he doesn't want something emotional with the person, it's just sex for him.
And he just
so
enjoys gay
there's
sex.
no need to come out, like fully by all means stay in the closet if you're only doing it for that. And then why ruin your career? Because of course it's Belize, we will not, well not me, but Belizeans will not accept a gay minister or bisexual minister.
You don't think so?
I do not think
What?
so.
We are not ready for that yet.
No, man.
We are so behind.
We do
have, like-
We do have.
I mean, if
But
I would have run
they're
a
just-
poll
I
as
call
to
them
how many
public- I
much
call them
minister
public
are actually
secrets.
like, you know, of the queer community.
I call them public
Well,
secrets.
I think it's
public. It's public secrets.
It's
That's
public
exactly
secret.
what it
We
is.
see it all the time, and you just like, you know.
Well, I probably don't know that. So I know it. I know about the women and they're accepted. Although you see little nasty remarks here and there, but for the most part, they're accepted. The women are accepted. But I don't think a man will be accepted like that.
It might be harder for a man, indeed.
Would
know.
you vote for a gay prime minister?
Of course.
I vote for a gay prime minister. Everybody in this room would vote for
Of
a gay
course.
prime minister. I think I'd prefer a gay prime minister.
Yeah, I
at this
would.
Yeah,
point.
for sure.
Less ego. Well, I just think that it's yes.
No, they have as much ego. It's
Yeah, I don't think your orientation has anything to do with
Yes.
what kind of person
Yes.
you are. You know what I mean?
Have you met straight men?
Yes, girl. Yes, girl. I have. That's a very interesting point. You have a point right there. But we will have to pause for a short commercial break. In the meantime, we encourage our Facebook viewers to drop their comments online. We want to hear what you have to say. I see you guys in the comments sometimes. We'll be right back.
Warning: the following contains content intended for older audiences and may contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good night and welcome back to Taboo Talks. I'm your host, Drea. And tonight we're discussing what it means to be gay in Belize. And we're picking right back up where we left off. Sex work in the gay community.
I like how you said that, but no.
Sex work in the gay community. Okay.
We're being PC.
So yes, you can find sex workers all over the world, right? But in the gay community, it seems like transactional sex is pretty common, especially since people prefer to operate on the DL, on the down low.
Yeah.
So, you know, you guys will let me know, like, what's it like? Have you ever been solicited before?
I wish.
Have you ever done the
I need to
soliciting?
pay some bills.
And what about, like, you know, like that sugar baby? Like, it might not be blatant prostitution, but it might be like a favor situation, you know? Especially like we might talk down, quote unquote, big man where family and everything, but low key on the
Well,
deal.
I was presented with situation before, but I always fumble the bag, so nothing.
Let me just say though, I think that this transactional thing is something that's common not only with gay people or LGBT people, but
In general.
In general. So
yeah,
I
but
just-
we're talking about.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to this DL movement and this sugar baby, I think it depends where power is.
Right.
So I think when these sugar babies come up, because nobody they come to big old Paul and say, you know, I want you be my sugar
You
baby.
think they're
They
taking
want look-
advantage
I think,
of them?
I think they look at me and say, well, I want you be my sugar daddy.
Yeah.
You know, so, and
Same, I
sometimes
have that same problem at this point.
you have
in
that
my
problem.
life.
I want to be the other way around, that somebody like offer me a trip. I want one of those vacations. I really do.
See? So do you think that they are targeting, like these down low men are targeting younger guys
I think they're
who are
targeting
less
older guys.
exposed?
They're not targeting. I just think they know.
They're targeting older guys.
I think they
the
know
sugar
their
daddies.
worth. They know what they know their worth, and so they know that
To
they're
me,
cute, and then
They're targeting.
I'm talking
younger
about the
guys.
sugar daddies,
The
you know,
sugar
the
daddies.
older
you wanna
one.
know if the
I'm
sugar-
asking if the sugar daddies are targeting the younger men.
I think it almost happens like they meet halfway. I really think that they meet halfway. That I think there's a power structure there, and at some point there is a need from somebody, and that person who has that need also realizes what they are worth. And at some point, it kind of like just happens halfway, and they end up talking, and one thing leads to the next. And it happens, like I said, that's why it happens in every circle. And then where you have, even if it's straight people, but you have where people say, when I play that power dynamic, and they're like, oh, well, I want to play it for you too, and I know what I need, I know what I'm worth, and they get things out of you. So I think it does happen, you know. But I think they have to meet each other. I think at some point they meet each
Es
other
como,
halfway.
tú me ayudas y yo te ayudo.
It's like
How
music.
much
Me
hand?
das lo que yo necesito.
Fair
y yo te
exchange
doy
is no robbery.
favores.
I wasn't fortunate.
Fair exchanges.
I wasn't fortunate enough to
Robbery.
be in one of those.
But,
You're not
but that's
fortunate,
not.
is
I
it?
said I wasn't fortunate enough to be in one of those.
But there are predatory
Ah,
behaviors,
you're right,
though, I do
exactly.
believe. And that is across the board, I think.
Yeah, that is
I think
something
there
else.
are predatory behaviors, and that's why I
Yeah.
said, whether it's heterosexual or gay people, I think there is that
That is
as
why
well.
I was asking if they are targeting like younger, more innocent boys who are like willing to do anything just, you know, for a little, to get like money to buy sneakers or
I think
something
they target
like
younger males that are living in poverty. They can't need like a leave. Oh, I need a leave like kissipals,
Yeah,
or I
that
need a
is-
leave
yeah,
money.
That is
And
what I'm
that's
talking
how
about.
they do it.
If
yeah.
they're under, I will say if they're under 18, that is total predatory behavior. That's wrong.
Yes.
That definitely is wrong.
But I say,
But if you're 18, if you're an adult,
set at 16.
well, no. If you're
Yeah.
18 and they come up and they're like, okay, you know, you want something, maybe you want a little trip or you want a little, I don't know, a little trim or whatever it is, or a little good time with some friends. You might say that the gay man where nobody look pan right now, but they got one little money.
I find out that
You just
every
want to go that
man
way,
got
that's
a
all.
big for leave
Yeah,
money.
you just might find out that thing want to stand up for that man, that's all. Sorry.
Okay, so recently, we've seen
Trouble.
several videos on social media with gangsters
I
who
haven't
are
seen any of
engaged in
them.
gay sex.
I do not. I'm
I
not
saw
interested in
one,
seeing them.
and you know, do you think
That's all.
some of the men who engage in gay sex are doing it just for the money, like you were talking about, or do you think they're actually some part of them deep down inside they're gay? Because I know we're talking about like gay homosexual men at this point,
Yeah.
you know, and I have a theory, to be honest. I think all men are gay.
Well, I have.
That's like I literally believe that like all men are a little gay.
So the
Like,
cameraman is gay.
well, to varying degrees. Okay, so for me, can I explain myself? Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I asked
Everybody
everybody.
know it. Everybody watch me like, excuse
Maybe all they
me.
have that thought
Hear
behind
me
their
out.
head.
Well, how they come? What part of prostate? What part?
Well, for the prostate, exactly. Hear me
I
out,
want to hear
right?
what
So
you have to say.
the reason I think all men are gay is because like a lot of our first experiences are same sex by nature. Like it's just what it is when you're growing up. Like who they wrong you, like you know what I mean, or like what do you experiment with yourself?
I'm
like
just me.
first, you know what I mean? Like it's just a fact. Like, listen, you could go look in a literature if you want, but most of the time, your first sexual experience is with yourself, with a family member, i.e., a cousin or whatever, or with someone of the same sex. You play with little girls all the time if you're a girl. You play with little boys all the time if you're a boy. That's just what it is. So, in my mind, everybody has a little bit of gay in them, but specifically, all men are gay because it's sexually satisfying for you to play with their assholes. Like biologically speaking, you are gay. You
I get
understand?
bashed for this.
You know what I mean? I know. Listen, everybody in the comments going to say, come for
Yeah,
me if you don't want. I think all men are kind of gay, and I really and truly feel that, like I said, sometimes for some of them,
I feel like
It's
that
a
is
battle.
what leads to like extreme homophobia. Like men who are they're not sure. They have a little bit of feelings, or they're not sure, because I feel like the extreme homophobia that I see within some Belizean men is like, okay, you can't hate that person just because they are gay. It has to be something personal. It has to be something internal within yourself
sure about yourself.
that you're projecting. So I feel like men who are extremely homophobic are low-key
probably gay.
Listen,
Yes.
listen, I go sit down at the barber shop, and I always have this thing I always want on my barber. Not to him specifically, but what I want to say.
No.
Not to him specifically,
Remember,
but,
from the closet to the TV.
but you know, and guys, you know what I talk about. You sit down in that shop, that's all, and when they trim back at the hair, so back here, so, and then they give that, you get a leaf feeling, you get a leaf tingle, and that run down your spine. You say the cameraman laugh, he know exactly what it's about, but you get a little tingly feeling. You don't know if you should be comfortable or not. Yeah, there's something in there. You got all these sparkle both. That's what it is. No, but on a serious note, I think that sometimes I think these guys that you're talking about that are making these videos or have been caught with their pants down, literally. I think sometimes that it could be just for money, you know. I think there are men who have sex with men. We call it MSMs. And I think that sometimes there is a possibility of men who have sex with men who just simply do it for a transactional thing. I think that it can
But
be
they're not attracted.
yeah, and I think that's a personal thing still too. I think that if you want to identify, I'm being serious, but I think if you want to say, you know, I'm gay, that's you to say that.
But the thing is, what you have to realize is, okay, you have a sexual orientation. I believe sex is sex. Sex does not determine your sexual, whatever you do in the bedroom does not determine your orientation.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
if I...
Say that don't make sense to me.
It makes a lot of sense.
Los hombres solo
if
quieren tener sexo, no importa de dónde venga. Solo quieren complacer sus necesidades.
Entonces no importa si es hombre o mujer.
No importa.
Solo es sexo.
Like they have women, okay, for example, they have women who have threesome with their men for the men pleasure, not because they like women, not because they're attracted to them. So it's just sex to them, and they're a straight woman. So does that make them bisexual or lesbian? I don't think so. It's just sex to them. So
Okay.
Sex is just sex. Whatever you do in your bedroom does not. Just like if
Okay.
if you're a straight man and you having sex with your straight woman and you decide to explore with toys and
You wanna go back there.
yeah, you want your woman to peg you, that does not make you gay. It's just sex.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's true.
Exactly.
What do you guys think over here? What about you, Zach? Do you have any input? Like, do you think that you can have gay sex or sex with the same
sex
and not be gay? Dun, 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 dun.
You literally hood now. Joke.
Well, if you have sex, you have to I would hope that you have attracted to the person if you have sex.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I
personally can have sex with somebody who I'm not attracted to.
I'm not talking from my experience, not my experience at all, because I'm bisexual, because I
You know you're
enjoy
bisexual. Yeah.
But I know straight women who would never like look at a woman and feel any kind of anything towards them.
Well,
But
women
they
are
have
different.
sex
They
with
just do it
them
for fun.
Because
And some man too. Some man just do it for fun, like doesn't do it for do it sake.
yeah,
You know?
so I don't
hold
think
it
it
in.
affects them.
Might as
I feel
well.
like if you're not attracted to someone, if you're not attracted to somebody emotionally, it's like if you not look on this, if you not see yourself with a man, or you not like one man, you not gay just because you had sex with them. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think there's so many dynamics. That's you know, it's still a personal journey at the end
So
of the day.
Yes.
the guy
Well,
will
like, like legitimately educate me, like, cause to me, like, I feel like I'm obviously, because my ignorance comes from maybe because I don't think about it, because I don't have to think about it. You know what I mean? it just comes from a place of like, oh, I may think, okay, you have sex with a man, you're gay. Like, but I think now that makes sense. Just like how in a previous episode we were talking about, like, are you a virgin? You know, just because you have never been penetrated.
Yeah.
So I think I understand where you guys are coming from, and with all of the judgment and secrecy involved, I do think it's important for us to identify these things.
Yes.
Because I think it's still very dangerous to be gay in Belize, especially like you said, like when the machismo is out there, the ego is out there, or you're the one that seduced me, or you made me believe that you were a woman or a man.
I do believe in transparency though. Like I support whatever anyone chooses to do, but be transparent with whoever you're with, your sex partners. Just be transparent. So that I think that is the problem that people have with these gangsters that are having sex on video, is because they are not transparent with what they're doing to their partners. Like they're, you know, so do you think that they should be transparent? Like they should let them know that.
When they get video?
No, not that. If they have a woman, I think that is what angers people, is that they have family, they have a woman, and
yet they're still
they are
partaking.
misleading them. And
so you think the
Or
danger?
the guy who is straight or who is the gang guy.
They're not being transparent with their family. They don't owe an explanation to their family, but if they have a partner who is a woman, they owe transparency to that person.
Yeah,
They owe transparency to that person.
Yeah.
100%. I want to know if you're doubling in beans too.
Exactly.
In queso
Oh,
and the
no,
beans.
not that, huh?
I said queso and beans, okay? You're double dipping, right? It's not nachos.
But I mean,
And then let the person choose, like, okay, yeah.
but is that only just for these gay or these MSMs? Because then what happens if
It's
if
for
it
both,
was a woman?
Because
You
for
wanna be
me, if I am dating a man, I'm bisexual. That does not mean that I date men and women at the same time.
Okay.
When I'm with a man, I don't have any interest in another man or another woman.
Okay.
And when I'm with a woman, I don't have. So it's not like it's the same thing. It's not a double standard. It's the same thing. I wouldn't be being with a man and having
Okay,
sex with
I
a
see what
woman
you're
and
saying,
think that
yeah.
it's okay.
Right.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so I think it's definitely something that we need to ask, like somebody that's transgender, how dangerous has it been for you, or do you think it's dangerous, more dangerous for trans people than it is lesbian and gay?
Well, for me, I don't do relationships, so I don't feel like I need to be open with anybody. And to me, it's different for transgender than some other way, a gay male or a gay female. Yeah, I don't think so, man.
I think it's more dangerous.
And then the thing for you, everyone already knows, right? It's not something that you're keeping a secret, like.
Your
Well,
expression.
you can't keep that.
Yeah.
But I think for like trans women, it is dangerous if they're not transparent, you know, because like some people just can't look at you and be like, okay, you were biologically born like a woman or something like that. So
Well, you see,
that
when
is what
look
I
at
think that is what it's saying. Like, if it's dangerous for you, everyone knows, right? And
it's not dangerous for me, but for a
yeah.
transgender female,
Woman,
it would be
It's a double
dangerous.
I
standard.
think that's
Yeah.
where, like, you know,
Dangerous.
the passing and the non-passing, like,
Yeah.
like I can definitely see why they would be targeted, to be honest, especially because I feel like they're very vulnerable. Like, they're in a vulnerable
me and
position.
my friend, we always have this conversation, and I love the trans community. So to my trans friends, don't get it wrong what I'm about to say, but there are sometimes what we always talk about is that it feels like there is, like, when do you say that you are trans? Because you can, like you said, you can be very female passing, you know, you pass as a woman, you have everything, you know, and then the only thing that might be different is the equipment downstairs. And so what happened, because sometimes, you know, you go reach the cocoa, but you come up with some balls. You know, and
I think that is
the
something
reality.
that
And so at one point, so somebody does get angry.
Yeah.
I think there should be communication,
That's what she says, transparency.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I just, what I would hope, but this is the thing, and there's such stigma and such transphobia, especially towards the trans women community, that they don't know when, I think, to say it, you know, because Belize is such a closed-minded place that they don't know when
And I
it's
think
safe.
it's everywhere. Like, as I was telling you about Twitter, there's always conversation about these things. Like, you can find threads about people discussing it. And I think it's hard for trans women because they are happy that someone is expressing interest in them, and that might jeopardize it by being transparent. Like, if a man shows interest in you, you don't know when another man will well, if they're beautiful, men are coming at them, but if you're having a connection, they feel like being transparent with them will jeopardize that, so they hold back. They meet at the first date, they don't tell them, then it leads to a second date, and then I guess that is where they become conflicted, like, should I even say something?
And you know what? We low-key all do that. When we go on a date with somebody, we're not telling them all our secrets one time. We show the best version of ourselves, what we want them to see.
Definitely.
And, I mean, if you're a trans woman, you're showing off that you're a beautiful woman.
I want to do that on the phone before you hit me with a brick. If I was a trans woman, I probably try to, not seduce, but I try to, quote you and everything. But I think when it comes to that kind of conversation, given what Belize is, I think you kind of want to have that conversation at a distance. And I think most of these trans women they go through that.
It
and it's
shouldn't be in
unfortunate.
person. It should be before the initial meetup. I believe it should be before the initial meetup.
And I agree, and that's what me and my friend were always talking about. Like, when should you say it? Should it be before? Should it be during? Should it be right before you get in a bed? Like, when at the right time?
Now you get killed
first.
Listen to the player. Listen to the one that believe in a relationship.
Yo creo que a veces es muy obvio cuando es una persona transgénero. Y,
A veces.
Sí, a veces. Son raros los casos cuando alguien se presenta como mujer, pero tiene algo más ahí. Yo creo que sí tiene que ver muchísimo la comunicación, porque para eso están ahora las redes sociales, teléfono, llamadas, lo que sea.
Yeah, you're right.
Y podemos llegar a un punto en específico en que podemos pasar ese límite que nos deja, en este caso, las personas transgéneros, que se limitan a no decir las cosas por temor a que dirán o que el hombre ya no las quiera más.
Sí.
Es cuestión de comunicación entre las personas.
¿Y crees que ha progresado? Do you think that like it's better now?
En Belice es muy difícil. Todavía hay una sociedad que está muy cerrada de mente. Sí creo que ha progresado un poquito porque pues todo el mundo está avanzando todo el tiempo, ¿no?
Yeah.
Pero no es como uno quisiera.
Yeah.
Todavía sigue siendo muy inseguro y no uno como persona LGBT+, se limita a muchísimas cosas todavía a una sociedad que está muy cerrada de mente.
Yeah, you're right. Belize is a very close-minded society because I even find myself, like, even earlier I expressed to you guys that I don't get that, you know?
Yeah.
But I do think that there is space. There is a lot of space for us to grow as a society, even though we're so close-minded, even though our society is very judgmental
With time.
and scared of the things that they don't know or don't understand, right? Because I think a lot of the fear, the phobia is, oh, I don't want to be turned. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, you know, a lot of it is like, well, the flamboyant one, he have to advertise that he, you know, gay, or the flamboyant trans woman, like, I can see her Adam's apple. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there is space, and this is why we have to talk about it, you know?
People get angry when you talk about it. Like, we're so behind. It makes me angry every time I think about it, that how, like, behind we are as a community. Like me and my partner, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I like attention, but I do not care if attention is on me. Like, I do not. But my partner is more like, she will do everything to avoid attention on her. So that if that means going as far as like avoiding PDA, even though she wants to,
that's a sad thing,
because
you know?
Just the attention. Like, if you see a man and a woman holding hands, you would not even blink twice. But just the stares, but just the whispers, just by us like holding hands or like being And not even overly PDA, just like, a hug or something simple as that. And it's when you visit other places, like you understand how behind Belize is, and it's very sad because when we went to vacation in the States, it's like, okay, like you can let your guard down now.
Here, yeah.
You can, I'm holding her hand, she's like, oh, I forget that we're not in Belize, that it's not as, it's not as corned as in Belize. So it's very sad how behind we are.
What are you guys' hopes for the next generation? What do you guys hope happens?
I want to get married one day, man. I believe.
But you don't believe in a relationship? How you get married?
But one day I will get married.
But they want to change your mind one day, left with the option.
I would hope so.
That is
Mi
not, I don't think that will
esperanza
happen for we great grandkids.
es
You don't think so?
que
No.
todas las personas que están creciendo y que estamos ya aquí, siempre peleamos por los derechos LGBT, que son los que muy difícilmente se pueden lograr en ese país.
He's saying that his hope is that everyone here and all generations keep fighting for LGBT rights. I agree. This is a very interesting talk, and I'm very appreciative that we're having it. But we do have to go to a quick break. But when we come back, we'll have our final segment. Stay tuned.
Warning: the following contains content intended for older audiences and may contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Taboo Talks, guys. I am Drea. We've been enjoying a very candid conversation so far, and now we want to welcome Alex Vega to the conversation. Alex is a professional social worker and has specialized in human sexuality and sexual education. Welcome to Taboo Talks, Alex. How are you?
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm good, thanks.
You've been listening to our conversation so far. What do you think?
I have been listening. Thank you for the invite. And yeah, you guys shared quite a lot of information in a very short amount of time.
Yes, well, we like to do things quickly out here. A quickie is good here and there. So let me ask you this, Alex. We know why people stay in the closet, social pressures, I don't know, shame, etc. But can you share some of the mental and social impacts it has on them? On people that stay or feel like they have to stay in the closet?
Well, first of all, there's no room for human beings to be in the closet. Closets are for brooms, and they're for buckets, and they're for clothes.
Ooh, right.
And it's a very dark and hot place. In Belize, it would be hot. Abroad, it would be cold. So first of all, we need to encourage people to work on self-acceptance and self-love and self-compassion, and come out of the dark place and into the light. And there is a community out here waiting for you. So of course, if you are unable to share a very central part of who you are,
right.
Our sexuality and our sexualities is not just a part of our life. I'd like to argue that it is a central aspect, a central part of our life. Who we love and who we find attraction with, who we have desire for. It's a life energy that psychologists from way back, Sigmund Freud, based his entire psychology on the sex drive and on that energy. So of course, having to deny that aspect of our lives, having to deny who we love and who we are attracted to, from the people who we love. As you have well said, lots of you said you don't really are looking for acceptance from others. But I would argue that we all are looking for acceptance and love from the people who we love.
Right.
We are all looking, it's a basic human need. Right after shelter, right after water, and the need to use the bathroom and to be safe is the needs for love and belonging. And to be connected with the people who we love. And so if we cannot share this domain, this central domain with the people who we love, such as our parents, our brothers and sisters, and most close family members and closest friends, then that means that we have to alienate and isolate and hide all that good, rich aspect of ourselves. We have to hide it, or else we hide it because we fear rejection. And so, yes, that has a lot of mental distress. Lots of people suffer from depression, clinical depression, and anxiety, panic attacks, if we are unable to be real and unable to be authentic with that central part of our lives.
Right. You know, we discussed the issue of, you know, a lot of people living double lives inside and outside the closet. What are the risks or repercussions of continuing this double life? As like we know that there's always the repercussion of public shame, especially for a lot of people that feel that they need to, you know, stay in the closet because of social reasons, right? Besides, you know, people having panic attacks, I'm talking about like long-term mental health. What are these people facing?
Well, so we have to, this is a long discussion and I'm going to try to really be as short as possible, but we have to differentiate between some concepts. Right. And Paul mentioned that there is a difference between a man who identifies himself as gay, and gay is an identity. It's a holistic global identity that has to do with behavior. It has to do with attitudes. It has to do with thoughts. It has to do with fantasies. It has to do with desire. It has to do with our past history, our present history, and our future. As compared to specifically a behavior that men and women can engage in. So there's a great difference between an identity versus a sexual behavior or a sexual act. So I am the first to say that our society is made up of diversity, a diverse spectrum, and sexuality. Our sexuality is on a sexual spectrum, on a sexual continuum. And so some men you may look at, some men having wives or having a wife, having extramarital affairs with women, and they are also having extramarital affairs with men. But it is in no way, shape, or form does that mean that they are necessarily gay. Because being gay is an identity, it has to do with how you identify and how you feel, how the capacity of attraction and love that you feel, and emotional attachment to another human being. So it has to do with your sexual behavior. It has to do with your desire. But some of these men go with other men for various reasons. Some of them indeed are denying their gay identity. They are in denial and they are in the closet. Other men would identify, and I believe them. I believe them from the studies of human sexuality. We know that there are some heterosexual identifying men who are very comfortable, live very fulfilling lives with women or with persons of the other gender. But at the same time, they like the sexual part. And that sexual part is a very divorced part from an integrated identity. It is just meeting in a certain area in town, going to a hotel for a room, and we just want to have sex and, don't write me love letters and let's not meet at the restaurant for drinks. Right. It's a very different, it's a different thing. So indeed, there's lots of repercussions for those people who are indeed gay identified and who would probably want to be living an authentic, open life in a more open society, in a more progressive society, but they have to hide, and they have to hide it from their significant other. There's imagine it's living a lie. Imagine having to cover and playing this game with people, with other human beings. So there is self-harm in that, and there is harm to others, right? Which is a golden rule in sex. and in affective relationships,
Right.
which has to do with no harm to self, no harm to my significant other, and no harm to third parties. And so there is a lot of harm, and with harm comes mental distress, of course.
Wonderful. So we've established that, it is, for some people, it is, some murky water to navigate. But what about the openly and sometimes, flamboyant queer people? How can we, help them feel safer? How can we create an environment for people who don't fit into society's accepted sexualities or identities?
Well, for the open gay identifying man or woman who don't necessarily have to be gender non-conforming, they can be very cisgender appearing. What our society needs is we need to update our knowledge about human sexuality. One of your panelists, one of your invited guests spoke about the need for creating space, and I agree with her. There is a great need to create space. We are here now in 2021. Today is what? July the 13th. Right now, in this moment, on this rock called the Earth that is floating in the universe, we have a right to be here now. Not in the future, not in the past. We, all of us, all of your panelists, we have a right to be here now in this space and in this country because we were born in it.
We're born this way, baby. I feel like
born this way.
Insert Lady Gaga. Sorry.
Right, and that is and that phrase has a lot of biological weight on it.
Right.
There's a lot of theory about why our sexual orientation exists, and there's lots of research behind just that phrase and just that statement.
Yeah.
But going back on that point, what do we need to do to create safer spaces? We need to first empower ourselves, and your group is a very empowered group of young people who have done their research and are still learning, and have a network of community-minded people and friends. And we need that in order to cope with adversity, in order to cope with the hostility. You spoke briefly about homophobia, and so in this field we speak about our constructed families. Some young people may not have their biological families to find the support, but they have the opportunity to construct their families through friendships and through networks where they can rely on each other for emotional support. And so we need a change of mind. We need to update our knowledge about sexuality. We need to combat and confront beliefs that are not based on science. I have very little patience for people in authority who use belief systems that are not based on humanism and are not based on empirical work in this area.
We don't have no patience for them either. No worry, Mr. Vega.
And use their power, their pulpit, whether they be pastors or whether they be psychologists or therapists, because there are still some people that would believe in aversion therapies, those therapies that are designed to change people's sexual orientation. And that's against all the schools of thought in this field.
Right.
From the American Psychological Association to World Health Organization to many different bodies of people who have been working in the field of healing and therapy and mental health. They have all said that homosexuality is a normal sexuality. It is part of the sexual continuum. It is part of sexual diversity in our life.
So earlier you said that, come out of the closet, come to the light, you will find your tribe. But where would somebody go here, Belize? Are there any resources for young kids that find that they can't open up to the people around them to go to? Because I know elsewhere there are centers or community centers, and like you said, like we don't necessarily have that here. So where do you go if you don't know anyone, if your family is all you know?
Well, first of all, I was talking about, I'm talking about young people. I'm not talking about children or kids, just
Right.
to make that differentiation. And there is a cautionary note, and I always have said this. Young people need to reflect on the risk. Every decision has consequences and pros and cons. And you need to evaluate the risk. You know your parents, you know your clan, your
Right.
tribe, and you need to be aware of what are the consequences. You have to weigh whether it is the right time to come out or to step out or to inform your parents or your family. You don't want to, for example, come out and be left on the streets.
Right. So yeah,
and be
because freedom
homeless.
has a price.
Freedom has a price, and so young people have to evaluate and self-evaluate and try to put the conditions in place before making that decision.
Right.
If they want to come out and they must come out, and they feel that it is an imperative to come out, then they need to have the support systems in place so that if in case they are chased out of their homes, and that has happened in this country and is pervasive, and chased out of their community,
Yeah.
then there is some umbrella, some support to pick them up. So in Belize, some of you have mentioned that there are, I wrote it down, that there are some organizations in Belize that are available, and now I can't find it, but there is a CSO Hub, which is an organization made up of something like 8 organizations. Our Circle is part of that. Unibam is part of that. Kevin Mendes has an organization, BYEC, something like that. And there are, and you can look it up on Facebook. Many different, you can search CSO Hub Belize.
Okay.
And in their Facebook, they're all listed. And then we keep saying in Belize that there's very few mental health resource therapists or psychologists or counselors, but more and more we have quite a few. We have quite a few. Young people can search for what is it? Mind Health Connect, and they have a list of therapists that are available. Of course, that's private practice, and that brings its own limitations, right?
But the point is that there's something there.
There are people who are who have studied mental health, and of course, again, you can research. People can research, or call and ask, where were you trained? Where were you trained, and what are your positions? I'd like to come and see you. But what are your positions on homosexuality?
Right.
So that there's a screening. Patients nowadays, we can empower patients and clients. Patient is such a pathological word, but we can empower people to know what they're buying, and so they can find out what is the philosophical or practice philosophy of the counselor before going in.
Right.
Because you don't want to go in to somebody who, because they have a degree that is accredited from some institution, that means that they will be empowerment focused, and they will have a positive sex positive perspective on issues of sexual health and sexuality.
Right. Well, thank you so much for that, Alex. Your input was very enlightening. We really appreciate you giving us and sharing with us tonight your thoughts. And we hope to see you on Taboo Topics sometime soon, another Taboo topic sometime soon. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much, guests. That is all for us tonight. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing your stories, and for being, bold and brave enough to just be who you are, no matter what that means in the society that we live in.
No problem.
So be you, viewers. Remember, your sexuality is your business. No one should try to force you to swing one way or the other unless you're into ropes and whips and chains and stuff. But seriously, we will always be in mental jails if we worry about how other people think or what they may think of us.
Yeah.
What's most important is that we think is what we think of ourselves.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I kind of love me, you know, not in like, you know, the narcissistic way, but a little bit like in a narcissistic way. And I hope that you love you too, just like in the narcissistic way. With that, that's Taboo Talks. And I'm signing off for tonight. And I hope to see you back next Thursday at 9 p.m. on CBTV or on Facebook. Be sure to hit up Colorblind on Instagram and TikTok as well to see cool content. We want to see your comments as well. So, yeah, that was it. Buenas noches, everyone.